All right. Welcome, Matthew McConaughey style, to the podcast, episode 176 of the Michael Lab Show. I'm thankful for you guys to be here on this beautiful Thursday morning, beautiful Thursday afternoon, beautiful Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday, whenever you are watching this. I am blessed to be here with people, real humans that actually listen to the show. Not like some person just sitting in my basement, it's good to not feel like I'm somebody just sitting in my bedroom, in the corner of my bedroom next to a fake chicken, while my closet is directly behind me right there, and I try to cover it up with a brain, and I have a fake chicken right here. It can get a little, it can get a little lonely when you start thinking about the podcast, and if no one listens to it, you're like, man. But the good news is that thousands of people listen to it, tens of thousands of people listen to it. So that makes me happy. That makes me feel like I'm not just talking to the wall and nobody's listening. So it's a beautiful thing, man. Stimulus checks have gone out. I hope everyone did get their money. Let's all be smart with that money. That is free money. There is going to be times in your life, this year has shown it more than any other year, that sometimes in life there is free money given away. If it's during a pandemic, which hopefully we never have to deal with this again, but there's free money to be had. If it's bonus at work, it's free money. If it's tax refunds, is free money. Like this, no, I mean technically it's not free money, but there's times in your life where you get money, and when you get the money, don't waste it. Like it's not my responsibility to tell people that, but I really do think people need to not just not just waste the money. Invest it, use it to pay off your debt, use it to pay off student loans. Just be smart with your money, and I think that can get you really far. This year, 2020, was a year of it was a year of pain for a lot of people. It was a year of suffering for a lot of people. But I also think it was a year of resetting for a majority of people. To find a new platform, to find a new meaning for yourself, to kind of reinvent who you are. I think 2020 has been a great reset button for a lot of people, and I think that's going to lead to a beautiful decade. And I'm excited to see where people I personally know, people around me, where they end up going. I think it's going to be a beautiful. I think it's going to be a beautiful decade. But thank you guys so much for being here with me on this fine Thursday morning, afternoon, evening. And before I get into the episode, let's just take a second right now to like the podcast on YouTube, subscribe on all the other platforms, including YouTube, rate it on Apple Podcast, follow it on Spotify. Also, the first link in the description box, you can just click that and you can donate to the podcast if you want. Don't feel like you have to at all. Somebody asked me about the sweatshirts. The sweatshirts are not going to be on sale. I'm not planning on selling them, to be perfectly honest with you. But I am. If there's enough people who want to buy one, I might do like pre-orders and I might sell them that way. But other than that, I'm not planning on doing clothing for the podcast as of right now. My main focus is just getting through school, and then once I get through school, I can take all that extra time that I spend studying parentheses. And the reason why I do parentheses is because I don't study like I should. I study enough to get A's, but I don't study enough as like the average college student. I definitely I'm a skater buyer when it comes to school, which is strange because a lot of things I'm not. But once I'm done with school, which hopefully is like a year, I should be completely done. I never saw myself with a bachelor's degree, but I'm going to have a bachelor's degree, and that's a huge accomplishment for me. And not because I'm school's hard for me, but just because I never ever saw myself completing it. I just never saw myself completing it. But that's once that happens, I'm gonna have a lot more time to focus my energy on school. So that's something I'm looking forward to, definitely. But a few things I want to get into today. A few pop culture, a few just news, a few money, business related. First thing I want to get into is I want to talk about Chris D'Elia for a little bit. So Chris D'Elia, back in like June, July, he was canceled from everything. He was dropped from his hit television show You. He stopped doing his podcast. He was taken off of everything that he did. They basically removed there's episodes, and he was canceled since I went to the lake. So that was like June. Because it was like kind of back to back. Chris D'Elia got canceled, and then Bryan Callen got canceled. Bryan Callen got canceled. He got accused of those rape allegations against him. Back in I think around June, around that time, because I remember my heart fell. I was like, "Damn, man, really?" Like I didn't want to believe it. And I'll get into that. But he got canceled, and he was fascinating because immediately when he got canceled, he went to Instagram like 4 or 5, 6 hours later that night. And he basically put out a post saying, they slandered me. That's not true. That person that's claiming this, everything was consensual. Everything was agreed upon by both parties. And that was basically his case. And he never went away. He stayed doing podcasts. He stayed on the scene. He might've went away for like a week or two. He ended up getting kicked off, not kicked off, but him and his co-host on Fighter and the Kid, Brandon Schaub, they agreed to kind of part ways because Fighter and the Kid weren't going to get any sponsors because of Bryan Callen, and the world of advertisement didn't want to put their brands with Bryan Callen at the time. He was you couldn't go near him. So like there was this time of uncertainty. And Fighter and the Kid got through. Brendan Schaub had a bunch of different guests on his podcast. I think Josh Wolf, a few guys, Eric Griffin, a few different guys, and they ended up making it through. And Bryan Callen never went away. Bryan Callen kind of just he either is telling the full truth or he's the biggest narcissist in the world. I personally believe that he's telling the truth. I really do. And that's not saying I don't condemn people who sexually harass, assault, exploit females. I kids especially. I condemn all that. That's horrible stuff. But I'm somebody who I really do believe in a fair judgment. I think I don't. So for me personally, I think it's dangerous when accusations are made without any evidence. And the reason why I say that is because in the world that we live in right now, the way that you get in trouble, the way that you actually get sentenced for your crime isn't through the legal system. It's through the news story system. It's through a news cycle. If you get caught up in a news cycle one time, and there's accusation one time, doesn't matter if the allegations are semi-true. It doesn't matter if they're like all the way true. It doesn't matter. The truth does not have to be there. The story itself just has to be explained. And I find that to be very, very dangerous at times because you can't tell me that every single time somebody's accused of something that it's 100% truthful. And just off of probability alone. And even if that percentage of cases that are, even that 1% of people who are accused of something, if there's 1% of people where it's not true, then that should be enough evidence that we should not immediately start removing people from all their platforms. And it's a very delicate matter because one, I think, before accusations are made, there should be a legal process that must be followed. I would never accuse somebody of burning my car. I would never accuse somebody of lighting my car on fire until I had evidence to prove that maybe they did that. Because without evidence, you have slander. If you're saying something about somebody just because you have a vendetta against them, and I'm not saying that those people had vendettas against Leah and Callen, but what I am saying is if you just make an overarching statement about somebody without any evidence, you, in my personal opinion, and I'm pretty sure in the opinion of law, you're slandering them. Your opinion, you're stating it as factual without having any evidence that could have a detrimental effect on their image. And if some things come out as not true, if accusations were not true, if they could eventually discover that what that person said did not line up with what happened, then what happens is the person who was accused, their career is it's over. It's never the same that it's going to be. Even if they do make it out, even if they do get back a career and they get back on TV shows, they get back on their podcasts and they start doing well again, guess what? They're always going to have that dot on their back, that they were accused of something. Because for some reason in the world that we kind of live in now, in this woke cancel culture world that we live in, being accused is the same thing as sentenced, and it's completely backwards. Being accused of something you didn't do anything wrong until factual information has been confirmed with the accusation. And I get scared that you can just point at somebody and say blah 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 did this, blah 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 did that, and then that person's career is completely over. If it's true and there's factual information to back it, yeah, their career should be over. But if there's gray area, then no, their career should not be over. And when you accuse somebody of something, do you want legal action against them, or are you just putting their name out there? And you better be damn sure that the evidence lines up. And this is not saying that people are wrong for calling people out. But when you call somebody out, there has to be a track record. There has to be not a track record, sorry, but there has to be a trail that leads to that. Or what are you doing? Just ruining someone's life for nothing. And I think a lot of the times that's what gets me. Like between every Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby and Jeffrey Epstein, there's people who get thrown in those categories who after all the dust is settled and all the facts have been presented, nothing happened. And can you really say, I'm not gonna go there, but I worry that maybe there is a double-edged sword with accusations. I don't know this to be true, and I don't know this to not be true. But I think when your words have the ability to completely unravel someone's career, those words better be chosen very carefully. And they better be words that are filled to the top with factual information, not halfway filled with blurry thoughts. And that's also not to say that I know plenty of girls who've had real damaging experiences with men in power positions, doctors, teachers, coaches, and that is it's so disgusting, and it's so hard for me to hear that it's hard for me to hear. And the thing that sucks most is it's believable. I'm not shocked by it. As a guy, I have experienced a lot of dudes who, if they got accused of something, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's weird. I'd be like, oh, that's definitely possible. And I think that's a reflection on the world that we live in. I think that's a world that it's sad that women do have to go through that. You know, it must be very isolating to know that the moment you walk out of your house, you are physically smaller than already 50% of the population, give or take a few percentages. And it has to be a stressor that I think the average man does not recognize. And it must be the same way that like the small scrawny dude in high school felt or middle school felt, this defenselessness. And I understand that that's why a lot of times things are said and sometimes things are misconstrued. So it's been really fascinating for me to see Chris D'Elia and Bryan Callen kind of just shake off the cancel culture. And look, if it comes out tomorrow that this happened, everything that has been said has happened, then they shouldn't be around. They should be canceled. But if that's not true, if the evidence doesn't line up, then no, I don't believe they should be canceled. It's been weird to watch Chris D'Elia kind of move around. Like he just woke up one day and he just was all over social media. Like he reposted a video. He apologized for what he did. He was mainly apologizing to his family. It looked like he was explaining to the world how he is a sex addict essentially, and how he needs help, and how he's in help, and how he was basically admitting to the world that he was an addict. And then right when he put out that video, he kind of went viral again. His name was getting dragged through the mud again because the accusations came back around. I think he was now like getting sued. So I don't know if that means that he wasn't being sued before. I don't know. I don't know exactly what, because it seems like most of the time that these things come out, there isn't criminal charges that are trying to be taken upon. It seems like a lot of them are civil, which is fascinating in itself. But Chris D'Elia just kind of last week, he uploaded a podcast and I listened to it. I'm a fan of Chris D'Elia's work. That's what's even more troubling. It's like I don't want to make that comparison, but I think until the dust is settled, evidence is out, I'm a fan of his. I like his work. He's funny. He makes me laugh. But he just was all over social media again. And I find that very, it seems like he's very confident. It seems like to me that he knows that he's not going to go down, because he seems very confident knowing that what he did was legal, was consensual, and he won't get in trouble. Once again, I don't know if that's the absolute epitome of a sociopath, to just convince himself that they did nothing wrong and then therefore just being able to live their entire life like nothing happened. That's definitely seems like a sign of a complete sociopath. I'm not 100% sure, but it seems a little it seems like a personality trait that would carry quite well with a sociopath. But I don't know. And who am I to make conclusions upon these people? But I listen to them. He uploaded a podcast, I listened to it. Bryan Callen uploads a podcast, I listen to it. I don't know, because there's a difference between being accused and being found guilty. And until those decisions come out, I don't think I can I don't know. It's definitely a hard thing to it's a hard place to be in, right? It's a hard place to be in when these people that you really liked for a long time, you listen to all their stuff, you support everything they did, these things come out and you don't want to believe them. And like, I know I don't want to believe them, but what if they are true? And if they're true, then I don't know. But goddamn, dude, Joe Biden is coming in, and that man is just ripping left and right. He's passing $1.9 trillion. I was listening to a podcast, not a podcast. So I used to do YouTube back in 2012, which is, I don't know if people who listen to my podcast were on YouTube, you probably weren't a content creator back in 2012, but YouTube back in 2012 was just, it was just the wild, wild west. It was fun, dude. It was so fun. You could upload, every time you uploaded something, it did well. Because the way that the algorithm was set up, it was set up to favor the creator, not favor the viewer. So like it's kind of like Instagram. If you uploaded and you hit the page at the right time. Like I remember on YouTube, I used to set times to upload. Like there was times of the day that you upload, because it used to be if you uploaded between like 3 and 5 p.m., people were getting off work and they were logging in YouTube. But now it's not like that. Now you got to hit a certain word count. You got to post a certain word a certain way. You got to have a certain thumbnail, certain title, certain this, certain that, certain consistency. Like you got to have comments, likes, all these things. Like all these things to go to have a YouTube channel that does well. It didn't used to be like that. And I was doing I was listening to myself on one of my Call of Duty videos, commentaries that I uploaded to YouTube. And I was stating, this was 2012, I was talking about how much debt we were in, which is crazy to think about. I was 15 years old and I was already talking about politics. Like I have this idea that I'm not somebody who like cares too much about it, but I do. I guess I do care about politics in the sense that I'm constantly trying to figure out where I fall on each side, like conservative, liberal. Like I feel like I'm a centrist. I don't really know where I fall, but it was crazy to listen to my 15-year-old self on this commentary, which it's still out there, which is my whole childhood is on social media, which is nuts. Like, I think more than the average 24-year-old. Like, because I've been on YouTube since 2012. Like, uploading to YouTube since 2012. That's almost a decade. I've had, like, 5 different channels. Like, I used to game out right here. Like, literally facing this wall was my TV. And I would just rage. Like, I was a straight-up gamer, bro. And I was talking about our U.S. economy's debt at the time. What was I saying? I was like, our economy, because at the time, I think it was Obama's administration, I was criticizing him on hiking the taxes for corporations, which ended up getting passed. And I think it got up to like 38% corporate taxes. And I was intelligent enough at the time, or at least aware enough to be like, yo, that's not good. You increase the tax that high. And I still believe in this. And I think this is just a very conservative opinion, but also I think it's very factual. By increasing the corporate tax, you leave these corporate businesses, these Fortune 500 companies, kind of peace out on you. They roll out, like they set up like they get a lawyer, they set up like an HQ in like Luxembourg or like the Maldives Islands, or like, you know, something like that, where the corporate tax is super low, if zero corporate tax. So it's a very simple thing. You know, you're a Fortune 500 company. Under the Obama administration, you're supposed to pay 38% corporate taxes, and you say, no, F that, we're not going to do that. We're just going to set up our HQ and say that we're based out of Luxembourg, that has, like, I don't know, Luxembourg corporate tax rates. Yeah, 17%. Yeah, so they have a 17% tax rate, which is 21% less than the Obama administration. And it is 4% less than the current the Trump administration. But Biden wants to increase it to 28%. And it was just funny listening to myself. Like at the time, I was talking about how our debt was at $13 trillion, like $13 trillion debt, and I was like losing my mind. I was like, that's crazy. Like your economy can't survive with that much debt. Like, it's a simple thing. And I knew what credit card was. And I was like, if I had $13 trillion of debt, I would never be able to pay it back. Like, it almost gets to the point when I remember when I was working at the restaurant, I was making the most money in my life at the time, but I was spending more than I was making. And I was shooting myself in the foot. And one of the reasons I was shooting myself in the foot is because there's something about like self what is it? Not self mutilation, but when you aren't doing too well, or I don't know. I was basically shooting myself in the foot. Like I was spending more. I knew I should have saved, but I said F it, and I just wasn't. What's the US debt? US debt clock. You ever see this thing? It's depressing. The US debt clock. If you just go usdebtclock.org, you can see our oh my god. Dude, it's so depressing, man. Oh my god. So here we go. US national debt, $28 trillion. And it's just going up. You can just watch it go up and up and up and up. Debt per citizen, $85,000. Debt per taxpayer. So, because not everyone pays taxes. So if you're a taxpayer, if you take that debt, the debt, and you average it out through how many people pay taxes, $223,000 per taxpayer. U.S. federal spending, $6 trillion. Revenue. Total state revenue, $2 trillion. State debt, $1.2 trillion. U.S. Treasury dollars, defense war, $723 billion for our defense budget. Dude, it's just a crazy, but you just see these freaking you just see these numbers just everywhere, and you're like, what the hell, man? Household assets, 130 trillion. Dude, you can look at everything, man. Oh my God. U.S. millionaires, there's 18.5 million millionaires. There's 46 million food stamp people. The median income now is $35,000. The median new home is $326,000. What's the average? Official unemployed, 9.96 million. U.S. population, 330 million. It's a crazy thing to see. But at the time, in 2012, the debt was $13 trillion. Right now, it is $28 trillion. So closing on $30 trillion of debt. The student loan debt is $1.7 trillion per student. Per student is $38,633 student debt per person. Credit card debt, $968 billion. Oh my God. And it's just going up. Oh no, it's going down. That's good. People are paying off their debt. Obviously, people are paying off the debt because everyone just got $400, which not really. It's just the U.S. It's increasing our national debt. We increase our national debt to decrease our credit card debt. Per household, $6,000 in debt per person. Total personal debt, $21 trillion. And that number's just going through the roof, dude. Good God. U.S. GDP is $21.6 trillion. Revenue per citizen, $10,000, $10,500. It's just, I don't know. But I was just listening to myself talk. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, we've within the last 9 years, we've put on $16 trillion of debt. Like, we've doubled it plus some. That's nuts. But Biden is like, he's basically said he's going to kill Putin. Biden says Putin, quote, will pay a price for Russian efforts to undermine the 2020 U.S. election. Dude, the dude's a savage, man. He's a savage. He comes in. He doesn't really work. His brain's broken. His eyes are always, like, squeezed shut like that. Like, I can't even, like, I can't even see what his eyes are doing. He's talking to ABC. I guess they forgot to medicate him. They just let him go out there, and he was just spitting. President Joe Biden said Vladimir Putin will, quote, pay a price for his efforts to undermine the 2020 U.S. election following a landmark American intelligence assessment, which found that the Russian government meddled in the 2020 election with the aim of denigrating Biden's candidacy. Of course, Russia. I mean, that's what they do. Like Russia and China, they hate they hate us. Quote: He will pay a price, Biden said of Putin in an interview that aired Wednesday on ABC's Good Morning America. Quote: We had a long talk, he and I, and relatively well. And the conversation started, I know you and you know me. If I establish this occurred, be prepared. If I establish this occurred, be prepared. Yo, Biden just threatened one of the biggest mafia dudes in the whole world. Let me read that again. He said, we had a long talk, he and I, and relatively well. And the conversation started, I know you and you know me. What does that mean? I know you and you know me. Biden, what do you know about Putin, brother? What's going on? Is your son over there? Like, what do you mean you know him? He knows you? He knows your family? Yo, that's a wild thing for your president to say. I know you and you know me. You stepped on my toes, you're done. Biden's basically like, yo, if this is true, if what you did was true, you better watch out. You better get your goons. You better put them around you because me, yo, you see Syria? Do you want that? Do you want that, Biden? Yo, man, Biden, or do you want that, Putin? Biden's all about that war, dude. He's coming in hard, man. This man is all about war. He wants war to make the money. That's wild, dude. But the Biden administration is expected to announce sanctions related to election interference as soon as next week, the U.S. State Department officials have told CNN. The dude's just going in. He's got no time. Biden claims he told Putin he didn't think Putin had a soul. Oh my God. Putin responds, Biden recalls, was to say, we understand one another. Biden claims he told Putin he didn't think Putin has a soul. God, dude. That's crazy. Biden recalls, Putin response, Biden recalls, was to say, we understand one another. Look, most important thing dealing with foreign leaders, and I've dealt with a lot of them over my career, is just know the other guy, Biden told ABC. When interviewer George Stephanopoulos asked Biden if he thought Putin was a, quote, killer, the president said, I do. Oh my God. How is this not like front page news? Biden is just going after Putin. Yo, that is actually crazy. I gotta save this. The price he's going to pay, well, you'll see shortly, Biden continued. There are places where it's in our mutual interest to work together. That's why I renewed the START agreement with him. That occurred while he's doing this, but that's overwhelmingly in the interest of humanity that we diminish the prospect of nuclear exchange. So that dude Biden wants to just go at him, man. Yeah, dude. That's kind of crazy, man. No one's really talking about it. Biden basically said, I'm going to murder Putin on ABC, and nobody's saying a thing about it. Because also, I don't think anyone really believes him. I just cannot do. I believe him. Biden says what he does. Biden is not the person that people think he is. That dude is looking to just mess people up, son. Florida's booming, and Republican Governor DeSantis is taking credit. Yo, of course Florida's booming. They never shut down, man. They don't play games, boy. Joe Rogan sold his house for $3.45 million. Bill Burr's wife had a simple message for Twitter troll who accused her of being a minority sex servant. What? Bill Burr's white. His wife is black. He makes a lot of jokes. He's a funny comedian. He's one of the best in the game, and somebody accused his wife of being a minority sex servant. Like, dude, go walk off a cliff, bro. Like, what are you doing? She's a stud. He's hilarious, man. These guys are the best. Pfizer says, screw it. We're going to increase our prices once the vaccine comes out. Ah, man. Japanese people are finally going to let gay people do the thing. But that's it, guys. I'm going to end the podcast here. A little bit shorter than my normal ones. But I'm gonna go DoorDash today. I'm gonna go try. I'm gonna try the side hustle. I want to make some extra money on the side. I want to make DoorDash money to just invest and paychecks from my real job to just save. So that's the goal. But I'll leave you guys with this one thing. Stay beautiful, stay sexy, like the podcast. I'll catch you guys in episode 177 of the Michael Lab Show. Peace out. See ya. Have a beautiful, beautiful